On areas that have seen a lot of snow, and that could mean a very high flooding potential in the northeast. That will move on out, and then cold air builds in. Snow showers here in the northeast by Sunday. Quick check on your temperatures. Very cold air in place in the northeast tomorrow. That will erode out towards the northeast as we head through the week in a fairly moderate week overall. We'll talk more about the big storm coming up in just a few minutes.
The new Silverado is here, now with quadra-steer four-wheel steering. It's the most maneuverable full-size pickup you can get. Silverado, the truck from Chevy.
You know, Jennifer, you are very special to me. I mean, you are totally special.
Nice rug.
Thanks, I just got it. It's a Sealy. And
This is why we don't make rugs. But we do make the mattress more people sleep on than any other. It's made for sleep. It's a Sealy.
Closed captioning on the Weather Channel is sponsored by Mutual of Omaha Insurance and Financial Services. Plan for tomorrow. Begin today.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this one speaks volumes. Canceled, delayed, travel is either at a standstill or it's moving very slowly, all because of a massive storm that's dumping heavy snow, ice, and flooding rains.
This is one for the record book for sure here in Washington. This is Mike Seidel. A foot to a foot and a half of snow already. More on the way. We'll talk impact and also get the forecast for Monday, President's Day, coming up on the Weather Channel Evening Edition.
Well, it's a good thing tomorrow is President's Day. Schools, government offices, and many businesses will be closed because of the holiday.
And that will keep people at home and off the roads and out of the near blizzard conditions that will continue to bash the Northeast. Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Weather Channel Evening Edition. I'm Carl Parker in for Rick Griffin.
And I'm Sharon Resulton with our storm tracker, Jim Cantori. And we have a huge storm, folks literally buried under several feet of snow in some cases.
Yeah, and it's still coming down.
Yeah, that's right.
You kind of wonder what we're going to see here by the time things are all said and done. Unofficially, well, actually, no, officially, because this came out of the National Weather Service report, 30 to 38 inches in Garrett County, Maryland. So that is some serious snowfall, and it's still coming down like crazy there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we've had so far. And again, just a plethora of problems here, all the way from the plains down through the southeast with the ice. I mean, when you start talking about 3/4 of an inch of ice across southern Ohio, northern Kentucky, and then southern Kentucky had 3-4 inches of rain. Northeast Tennessee had almost 7 inches of rain and some flooding problems around Knoxville. And unfortunately, 4 dead as a result of this storm so far. And we don't want that number to go up. The best advice we can give you, just stay off the road. There's absolutely no reason to be out in this. Everything's shut down anyway, as we're going to find out tonight as we turn to the nation's capital. Mike Seidl's been there reporting all day. Mike, you mentioned the heavy snow now changing on over to sleet. The road's just in terrible shape.
That's right, Jim, and I saw the satellite photo with the upper low back in Arkansas. What do you think, buddy? It looks like it's going to snow in New England till Tuesday.
Yeah, there's just going to be this huge easterly fetch, and I mean, away from the coast, 2 to 3 feet, definitely a possibility here.
And you mentioned the heavy snow in western Maryland. Here in D.C. and Baltimore, we've had 1 foot to 1.5 feet of snow. Now it's turned over to sleet. Enough warm air has been driven in from the lower latitudes just above the surface. So we're getting sleet pellets. Let me let you listen to them. Sounds like you're frying eggs at the Waffle House. And that will limit the accumulations. As far as the D.C. area this evening, we've been out and about. Most of the people out around Washington this evening have been walking up and down the roadways because a lot of the sidewalks have not been plowed yet. They're kind of concentrating on the primary roads. The monument, finally, we could see it this evening. We hadn't seen the monument since yesterday because the visibility has been below 3/4 of a mile. That's our distance between the Washington Monument. But the plows have been out, but not a lot of action in D.C. tonight, as you would expect, because of the very poor driving and the fact that it's been snowing hard since about 3:30 this morning. Reagan Airport at Reagan National and BWI are shut down till noon. On Monday, Dulles has 1 runway open, but only a few international flights have gotten in and out. And as far as Maryland is concerned, they're in a state of emergency until at least 4 a.m. The governor has declared that. That means unless you're a local or state emergency vehicle, stay off the roadways or you're subject to a $1,000 fine. Jim, we'll keep you updated on the roadways and the airports here from Washington right on through tomorrow morning.
Mike, even the weather today keeping the president down. Instead of taking his usual helicopter ride from Camp David to the White House, he had to travel 2.5 hours on the road. So don't feel so bad out there.
I heard about that. Poor guy.
All right, thank you very much, Mike Seidl, reporting from the nation's capital, and not feeling too sorry for President Bush today. All right, let's go ahead and check out the snowfall totals as of Sunday p.m. Again, the big winner, definitely Garrett County, Maryland, 30 to 38 inches of snow, and we're going to update some of these totals for you. Baltimore now moving up the scale with 16.5 as of 10 o'clock. It's still hammering there, and Philly's going to go up, as so is Washington, D.C., even though they have changed over to sleet. You can see this huge area of precipitation that we still have to deal with. We are dealing with 2 things, a subtropical flow coming in from the south. Also, the high is starting to build offshore now, so we have an easterly fetch, and that is why we've seen some of these areas change on over. But we have a ton of moisture and a long duration event, even in Washington and Philadelphia. Paul, how are we going to see these areas go back to snow before all is said and done?
It does look like that. As I looked at Charlottesville's observations, they're in Virginia. They went over to sleet. Now they're back to snow. So the warm air has come in, but there's still such a long period of snow and sleet to come that it's probably going to mix back with snow and go back to snow before all is said and done by the time the snow ends, tomorrow afternoon. So we're still looking at this very long duration event. The reason why the snowfall amounts in Garrett County and places like that are so high, this is a 36-hour storm event. As the storm moves up to the northeast in New York and Boston, it will likely be a 24-hour snow event. That's why amounts will probably not be on the order of the incredible 30 to 38 inches we'll see in Garrett County, Maryland. But we're going to see the low pressure center continue to move up towards the northeast. It's a complicated series of upper level disturbances that are coming around the base of the trough. Will send the system up to the north. And we're already seeing some of the onshore flow coming across eastern Maryland, and we're also seeing some of the northerly flow. So typically when we see that, we see almost like a frontal boundary developing right here. And on the west side, we got some very heavy precipitation. That's going to be with snow and sleet going through the area. Here is the radar looking at New York City. A lot of those dark bands representing heavy snow that's going to be occurring overnight across most of the New York City metropolitan area, 6 to 12 inches by morning.
All right, so Paul, some of the same problems we're seeing in Washington and Philly, they're just going to extrapolate north, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be virtually the same thing. It's just not going to be lasting as long, but it's still going to last an awful long time there, all through tomorrow in New York.
All right, we'll be seeing a little bit more of you, buddy. Winter weather expert Paul Kosin. And guys, I guess that's the word for the weather. Just stay home. I mean, there's just no need to go out in this.
Holiday tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a
That's
holiday.
right. No
a lot of
reason to
people are
go
off.
out.
Just stay home.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, travel conditions are going downhill tonight, and here is the very latest. We do have delays a little farther westward relative to where the action is in Covington, Kentucky. 85-minute delays there. And, of course, you've heard about the closures in Philly, BWI, and also at Reagan National. Very serious situation there, and it will only get worse before it gets better. Joining me now on the phone is Tom Sullivan, spokesperson for Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C. Mr. Sullivan, I understand Reagan National Airport has been closed all day, but 60 flights have taken off from Dulles?
That's right. We've had about 60 operations, both takeoffs and landings at Dulles Airport, and that's only about 5% of what we typically do on a Sunday. So clearly this weather has completely impacted the airport, and it's going to continue throughout the night and into tomorrow. We don't see a whole lot of operations going to be taking place at Dulles Airport until about noon. There may be 1 or 2 flights going out, but I think we're going to have the same situation we did at National as we do at Dulles tomorrow morning.
And how were officials able to keep Dulles up and running today?
Well, we have the opportunity at Dulles Airport, and Jim Cantori may remember he was out at the airport a couple of years ago. We have parallel runways at Dulles Airport, whereas at National they intersect each other. So we're allowed to put all of our resources on one runway while we go ahead and keep operations going on the other.
Mr. Sullivan, thank you very much for that report. We'll have much more on this big President's Day storm coming up in just a few minutes.
Brought to you by